So this is Jesus Christ. And he said, doesn't he say the opposite? Doesn't he say that people are no longer getting married after death? If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is his quote from Luke.
Some of the Sadducees, who deny that there is a resurrection, asked Jesus, saying, "Teacher, Moses wrote that if anyone's brother dies, having a wife, and he dies without children, his brother should take his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. There were 7 brothers, and one after another they took her as wife, but they died childless. Lastly, the woman died also. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife of them does she become?" But Jesus answering said to them, "The children of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who shall be held worthy to attain the second age and the resurrection from the dead shall neither marry nor be given in marriage, nor can they die any more, for they are like the angels and are children of God, being children of the resurrection. Moreover, that the dead rise again, even Moses showed in reference to the bush when he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. So then he is not God of the dead, but of the living, for all live to him."
Shall neither marry nor be given in marriage. That sounds like no marriage in the afterlife. However, there's a problem with that reading of that, which we discussed in detail in our last episode, which was called What the Bible Is, which you can take a look. One of the primary things that Swedenborg was communicating is Jesus spoke in parables. I mean, everybody knows that. It says, without parable spake he not. Everything he was saying is symbolic language, and that extends not just to the Gospels, where Jesus is, but back through the whole Bible. So you can't read that literally. That's not the one place where he was speaking literally. And Swedenborg has commentary on that particular verse and what it means in his book, Marital Love or Marriage Love or Conjugal Love 41. The Lord's words about there being no weddings after our resurrection refer to spiritual weddings. Stay with me. We'll explain what it all means. There are 2 things that the Lord is saying here. One is that we do rise again after death. The other is that we are not given in marriage in heaven. He says that we rise again after death by saying that God is God, not of the dead, but of the living, that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are living. He makes the second point that people are not given in marriage in heaven when he says that those who are found worthy of attaining in the other world will not have weddings or be given in marriage. The words that immediately follow show quite clearly that the only weddings this refers to are spiritual weddings. It says that they can no longer die because they are like angels and children of God when they are children of the resurrection. Spiritual weddings, here's what it all means. Spiritual weddings mean union with the Lord. And this happens on earth. When it does happen on earth, it happens in heaven as well. So they do not have second weddings and are not given in marriage in heaven. This is correspondences. We talk about this in the show a lot. Jesus is not speaking about a physical, literal wedding. You know how Jordan was saying that there's a marriage, there's all these different levels of marriage. There's a marriage, there's a marriage of love and wisdom, these 2 elements. There's also a marriage of God with the church, or the part which Swedenborg means the part inside of us that can connect with God. That marriage inside of us is what makes us good people. It's what makes us kind to our fellow human beings. It gives us spiritual life. That marriage is made here on earth. This life is where we have the chance to in a real-time setting with other people, decide how we want to treat people. We can think where we think we can get away with things. What kind of person do we want to be? Do we want to marry goodness and truth inside us? Do we want to marry ourselves to divine love and divine wisdom? We decide that here. In the afterlife, you've set your course. That's what he's getting at here. That's what Jesus is meaning by this spiritual marriage. And so that's one shade of it. But there's other reasons why he says they're neither married, they don't marry and are not given in marriage. The Pharisees who were asking him that, they had this concept of marriage that was very much a woman is property. She's given from one person to another. It's not like a mutual romantic commitment between 2 people. And the weddings in the afterlife, the marriage in the afterlife is actually even more along that lines. In Heaven and Hell 382b, Swedenborg says, marriage is in the heavens. So now we are talking about 2 people coupling in heaven. Marriages in the heavens are not the same as marriages on earth. In the heavens, there are spiritual weddings that should not be called weddings, but unions of minds, because of the union of the good and the true. On earth, though, there are weddings because they concern not only the spirit, but the flesh as well. Further, since there are no weddings in the heavens, two spouses there are not called husband and wife. But because of the angelic concept of the union of two minds into one, each spouse is identified by a word that means belonging to each other. This enables us to know what is meant by the Lord's words about marriages in Luke 20, 35, and 36. It's confusing. There's a couple different levels of marriage. There is the marriage of God and the human heart. There's also this marriage of people in the afterlife who join together as couples like we do. But that was so far from the Pharisees' concept of what marriage was. It was such a different phenomenon that you can't even equate the two. So that the kind of marriage they're talking about doesn't happen in the afterlife.